So as you guys know, because we've been covering it on the show, there is a potential massive strike looming at the end of this month. Let's go ahead and put this up on the screen. This would involve 340,000 UPS workers who are organized under the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. This was the very last update that we got. After marathon sessions, UPS negotiations collapse. Around 4 a.m., UPS walked away from the bargaining table after presenting an unacceptable offer to the Teamsters that did not address members' needs. We are very excited to be joined in studio by the international president of the Teamsters Union, Sean O'Brien. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So just give us an update here. Why did negotiations collapse? What are some of the key sticking points at this point?
Yeah, so we've been negotiating since January. We have 44 supplements that are area conditions for the master agreement, and we've got all those done, and then we started negotiating the national master agreement towards the end of April. Made a lot of progress, made a lot of changes favorable for our members, and things were going well. And then once we got into economics, that's when it started to fall apart. And, you know, we're not that far apart as far as getting the deal done. 95% of the contract has been negotiated. But when it came down to talking about wage increases, rewarding people with longevity, just rewarding our Teamster members, UPS took a position at one point that they had no more. Towards the end of it, we have no more to give, and I'm like, what does that mean? And so we just have no more to give. I said, so there's no sense in moving forward then, right? And they left. But you know, the sad part about it is that, you know, our members, they worked through the pandemic. They provided goods and services to this country with total disregard for their safety and the safety of their families. We actually our members transported vaccines when they weren't even eligible for them, making sure other people had them. And, you know, the bottom line of UPS's balance sheet, they made $100 billion. Everybody got paid through COVID except for our members. When you think about it, the shareholders got paid, the executives got paid, the CEO got paid and rewarded, and they never touched or forwarded a package. So, you know, it's a little bit frustrating, especially, you know, the earnings that UPS has been making as a result of the hard work of our 340,000 Teamsters. And it's frightening when you see, you know, our part-timers. It's actually embarrassing for UPS when part-timers are making, you know, living in poverty in some of the big cities. They're on subsidized housing. So it's time for UPS to do the right thing and reward these folks.
I mean, there's no argument here. It reminds us a lot of the railway situation. You know, the people who literally make the country run and are the people not getting paid while the big executives are. So let's talk, actually, I think, about that because, you know, we're talking here about the economic conditions and more. Like, give people a sense of what you're asking for, very basic fairness in terms of compensation.
Look, I mean, UPS has, you know, had double-digit earnings. You know, they doubled their profits, doubled their volume, and you know, the reality is our members want to be rewarded. And you know, UPS is going around telling people, well, the full-timers make $93,000 per year with $50,000 in benefits. And that may be true, but that $93,000 a year is not an easy task. They're working 60, 65 hours per week. It's a very demanding job. And our full-timers, regardless of what they make, need to be paid more.
Right.
UPS has set the industry standards, but that's only because the Teamsters Union is a conscience. We've fought long and hard for decades to get the conditions and benefits. UPS is not giving them to our members out of the kindness of our heart. And then the part-timers, I mean, everybody sees their UPS driver in their neighborhoods, but they don't understand that without the part-timers, who some are working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet, without the part-timers, those packages don't get loaded or unloaded on those trucks. So they're the unsung heroes of this battle, of this fight. And they need to be rewarded. And look, this is something that UPS has the opportunity to do, to be the model employer throughout the United States, to show and demonstrate this is how you treat and reward people that make you the success that you are.
And this is no small issue. What percentage of the 340,000 are actually part-timers? Because I know it's a significant part of it.
Well, it's over 50%, probably 52, 53%. And 100,000 of those UPS part-timers are making less than $20 per hour.
Wow.
And UPS,
that's a hard job.
UPS, you know, hasn't been consistent either with all their, you know, tweets and all their little press releases. One minute they're saying they make over $20 an hour, and then next minute they're saying they make $5 less than $39 an hour. So the one thing, we've been consistent in our messaging, and you know, UPS, look, if they want to get a deal, all they have to do is pick up the phone.
Can you talk a little bit about the context of how we got here? You were recently elected. Key part of your campaign seemed to be, promising you would take a more aggressive stance on these contract negotiations. I know members voted overwhelmingly to authorize a potential strike. So, can you talk about, some of the concessions that were made in previous contracts that led you to this place of being willing to walk away and really pushing hard for what your members deserve?
Well, the one thing that we have done as administration is we've listened to the people that are responsible for us to be here. That's our rank and file members. Those are the people that, we work for. They don't work for us. So that's been a different approach that we've taken as a new administration. And the last 2 contracts have been concessionary. UPS have gotten tremendous flexibility. They had a 2-tier wage system. There was a lot of stuff that we needed to change, and our members weren't happy. So we've been focusing on not just the UPS, with every contract negotiations. We're not working beyond expiration dates of contracts. We're out there, and the good thing right now is because of when we ran the changes we made in our Constitution, now it's mandated that rank and file members are on the negotiating committees for all these national agreements, where they are our best testimonials at the table. It's great when an employer can tell a story, and I always say employers' stories are compelling but highly inaccurate, but there's nothing better when you have someone that's working in that industry that knows the trials and tribulations every day and can actually give true testimonials. That is amazing, and it's helped us tremendously in all these negotiations.
Can you talk about morale within the rank and file, their willingness to stand up for a fair contract here? Because there's a lot of talk right now about the Great Resignation is over, about some kind of diminishing willingness amongst labor to not only just strike, but to kind of stand up and try to get what's theirs. What's the attitude right now?
Well, the attitude is our members are fired up. They know what they did for this company, what they did for the country during the pandemic, and they want to fight. They want to fight. And look, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody wants a strike, but I keep telling people, and this is the truth, that if there is a strike, it's because UPS caused a strike. This is going to be a self-inflicted wound. They know what they need to do for our members. They know what they need to do for their employees, and it's time they do it.
Yeah.
What happens next in the negotiations, or what do you think are the odds that you get to a deal or that you go out on strike?
That's strictly up to UPS. I mean, we're willing to sit down, we're willing to talk, and it's, like I said, we're 95% done in the contract. All the supplements are done. Now it's just about the money, the economics. And the problem is, and I don't mean to cut you off, the problem is that UPS is so focused on Wall Street, they're forgetting about Main Street. Main Street are the people that we represent, the people we have the privilege to work for every single day. And they need to reward Main Street. Everybody else is getting paid that hasn't even touched a package or forwarded a package.
Yeah. How does this impact broader labor movement and just workers in general?
I think what it's going to do, and I'm excited about it. I think we are going to be the template on how to fight big business, how to take them on, and how to win. And I think this is going to invigorate the labor movement even more so. I mean, you see these young workers at Starbucks, you see these young workers all over the country looking to organize, and that's refreshing to someone like me and the Teamsters Union, because look, I'm a 4th-generation Teamster, and there's nothing better than young people being involved, and people want to take on the boss now.
Yeah. Tell us about Amazon. Put this up on the screen. Guys, there were some experts who were saying this is kind of a prelude to future Amazon fights. I know you all have been doing some organizing at Amazon locations around the country. It would be huge. Obviously, Amazon, huge workforce. They've really degraded work and pay conditions among warehouse workers in particular. What are your plans there?
Oh, we have to organize Amazon. There's going to be no question about it. And that's why, UPS, in collaboration with negotiations with Teamsters over the years, we have collectively set the standard as high as we can. And we want to maintain that standard as far as when you're working in this business, loading trucks, delivering packages. We've set that standard, and we're going to make sure that we continue to set the highest standard. But we need to take this contract as a template and bring it to these Amazon workers who, there's no doubt, they have a 110% turnover ratio. There's no pathway to a full-time career. We need to take this contract and say, this is what you get when you become a Teamster member. You're going to get, health and welfare. You're going to get pension. You're going to get job opportunities. But more importantly, you're going to get dignity and respect in your workplace.
I think that's the most important thing.
And finally, last question for you. You know, we've been tracking the fact that public sentiment is at all-time highs practically in terms of support for labor unions. You have, you know, not just Democrats now, but a lot of Republicans coming back around. I'm talking about rank and file Republicans, not necessarily the ones in Washington, D.C., but in favor of organizing, in favor of labor unions because they see the way that worker power has been diminished over decades. At the same time, private sector union density continues to decline. So what are the sorts of things that need to be done at the federal policy level in order to enable the, you know, burgeoning grassroots labor movement that we've been tracking here across the country?
Well, I think the government needs to not reward bad employers. Like Amazon has a $10 billion contract for the cloud. You know, if they're not treating workers, they have the highest violations in OSHA. The government shouldn't be rewarding bad employers. But we also should be looking at how we can make it easier for people to organize. You know, you talked about the PRO Act, and
Yes.
you talked about, we talk about that all the time. But
Are you disappointed the president sort of dropped that? You talked about it at the beginning, and I haven't heard about it in a long time. And he's still giving Amazon contracts.
Yeah, well, the president has done a lot for labor. And sometimes we focus on, what have you done for me now? I mean, look, at the end of the day, we need to find a path to let people organize easier without retaliation or retribution. Union busting is a $500 billion per year industry, and the government needs a crackdown on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. People nowadays should be able to join a union free of any threats, retaliation, but the American people should be entitled to a middle-class wage and living. And that's not happening right now, but hopefully we can change that.
Great.
Well, very grateful for your time. Good luck in the negotiations. We'll
Thank
be
you.
watching closely. I hope you'll come back and
Yeah,
keep
keep
us
us
updated.
I
updated.
definitely will. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
My
sir.
pleasure.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.